Hey, welcome back to the stash.
There's a feeling I'll never forget. I'm 7, maybe 8 years old, sitting cross-legged on the living room carpet. The room is dim, save for the glow of the old TV screen. In the DVD player spins one of the few prize discs I owned as a kid, Justice League the Animated Series. The menu screen with its looping music had played so many times I could probably hum it in my sleep. I'd press play and then that intro. It was electric, heroic, iconic. Those images of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman and the rest of the League standing tall in shadow bursting into action as the triumphant theme swelled around them. It wasn't just an intro, it was a declaration. It told you this is what heroes look like. This is what you'll grow up to admire, and admire them I did. I played that DVD to the point of exhaustion. It's scratched to hell now, probably unwatchable, but I still have it, somewhere in the corner of my shelf, beat up and forgotten, a true relic. But fast forward to the present, it's a quiet afternoon and I'm wandering my local comic store. No real plans, it's just a casual browse. And then I see it. Justice League Unlimited Issue 1. The bold DC all-in branding catches my eye. The cover is sleek, modern, almost like a movie poster, yet it feels familiar. Curiosity gets the better of me, so I pick it up. I flick through the pages, scanning Moira's breathtaking artwork, soaking in every single detail. But then on the credits page, I stop. Something hits me, something I wasn't ready for. Nostalgia crashes into me like a tidal wave, washing away the fluorescent lights of the comic store, transporting me back into the dark living room. That page, what usually is just a simple mundane list of names, mirrors the opening credits of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the animated series. The same shadowed look, the same energy, the same unmistakable vibe. It wasn't just a nod, it was a bridge between the kid who couldn't stop rewinding his favorite DVD and the adult standing in that comic shop holding on to this new beginning like it was something precious. For a second, I wasn't just reading a comic, I was back there, on the carpet, wide-eyed as the heroes I idolized leapt into action. I could hear the music, I could see the flashes of light, the silhouettes of gods and legends, and for a moment, I was a kid again. I didn't just buy Justice League Unlimited Issue 1. I walked out of that store holding a promise that maybe, just maybe, this comic could recapture that magic, that sense of wonder. And as I sit down to talk about this book, I realize that's what this is all about. Comics, heroes, stories, they're not just entertainment, they're memories, they're time machines, they're bridges back to the parts of us that we don't ever want to lose. So join us today as we dive into Justice League Unlimited Issue 1, the start of what could be the Justice League comic for a whole new generation of fans. But before we get into that, I wanted to take a quick second to say that here at The Stash, we're trying to hit 6,000 subscribers. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any support truly does mean the world to me. But with all that being said, let's get right back into the video. The Justice League is back, bigger, better, more unified than ever before. The new Watchtower is a marvel, a living, breathing machine of heroism orbiting above a fractured Earth. And so, who better to introduce us to this extraordinary world than a character we've never heard of? Meet Waid. He's a nobody, a rookie, someone who doesn't belong here, or so we think. With the power to control and transform into electromagnetic waves, he arrives at the Watchtower wide-eyed and nervous. He's immediately thrusted into the League's chaos. From the moment he steps foot inside, the Watchtower is alive, buzzing with action. Heroes sprinting from mission to mission, 1,000 moving parts forming one perfect team. Aquaman, Sand, and Totara are off to stop the Marine Marauder. The challengers of the unknown scramble to assist Blue Beetle with a power core issue that could take out the entire station. And at the center of it all is Red Tornado. He's without a body, yet still commanding the team like a seasoned conductor leading an orchestra. It's overwhelming, but Waid barely has time to process it all before the Flash himself speeds in, grabs him by the arm, and zips him through the Watchtower on a whirlwind tour. We see that the Watchtower isn't just a base, it's a city in the stars, a home for legends, and Airwave catches glimpses of its many wonders. Flash's jokes and boundless energy provide some levity, but for Airwave it's just too much. He's a kid with an impossible dream standing among gods, and just as he's about to puke from the sheer adrenaline of it all, the alarm goes off. There's trouble in South Africa. War wheels, giant, menacing, alien-looking machines tearing through the countryside. And so within a second, Superman, Wonder Woman, Black Lightning, Kid Flash, Firestorm, and a very inexperienced Star Sapphire are called in. We then learn the stakes of the entire situation. An organization called Inferno has attacked this mining town that supplies most of the world's iridium, a critical element for electronics. If Inferno succeeds, they'll control the global electronics supply. So Superman and Wonder Woman take the fight to the war wheels in a stunning display of Dan Mora's artwork. It's dynamic, kinetic, larger than life, while the rest of the team works on civilian rescue. Back at the Watchtower, Airwave has his first taste of rejection. He watches the action unfold on the monitors and he's desperate to help, but Red Tornado holds him back. "You're not needed here," Tornado says bluntly, and for someone as eager to prove himself as Airwave, that stings. We then quickly move to Costa Rica, where another mystery is brewing. Batman and Blue Beetle investigate reports of a winged creature abducting children deep in the jungle. The locals guide them to the forest, but what they find is beyond anything they expected. It's like a scene ripped straight out of Alien, a twisted, pulsating biome filled with strange eggs. Whatever's happening here, it's bigger than they anticipated. They're going to need help, though they're not even sure what kind of help yet. Back in South Africa, Star Sapphire faces her first real test as a hero. Amid the chaos, she finds a soldier on the brink of death. His injuries are severe, too severe though. Black Lightning and Red Tornado both agree he won't make it, but he's calling out for his wife, and something inside Star Sapphire refuses to let him go. She knows she has this unique power tied to love. If his wife is near, she can use their connection to heal him. It's a long shot, but it's the only shot they have left. That's when Airwave sees his chance. He defies orders and rushes to the battlefield. Using his electromagnetic abilities, he sends a signal through every phone and device in the area, searching for the soldier's wife. It's a tense, pulse-pounding sequence as the team races against the clock. When they find her, Kid Flash speeds her to the scene, and in a moment of pure heart-wrenching beauty, Star Sapphire channels their love to save the soldier. It's raw, it's emotional, and for a brief second, the Justice League doesn't feel like a group of untouchable legends. They all feel human. But the victory is short-lived. As Superman and Wonder Woman destroy the last of the war wheels, Inferno leaves a message. They aren't done. They won't stop until the world and the League are under their control. Superman, ever the optimist, declares that the Justice League is the largest and most powerful force for good in the entire universe, but Inferno's reply is simple and chilling. The League already belongs to them, we just don't know it yet. Afterwards, the team returns to the Watchtower tired but victorious. Airwave is practically glowing from his adrenaline-fueled day. The League welcomes him with open arms, giving him a pat on the back and sending him off to rest. It feels like a triumph, like the first chapter of his inspiring story. But then we see him alone in his cabin. His smile fades, his hands tremble, the weight of the day crashes down on him, and for a moment it seems like we're about to see the cracks of an overwhelmed rookie. But in this quiet moment, he whispers something far more sinister. And so our story ends with Airwave revealing to us, the audience, that he is there to kill the Justice League. I had an absolute blast with Justice League Unlimited Issue 1. This series hit me in all the right ways. As someone who's never really had a proper starting point with the Justice League, like a series I could follow from day one, this felt special. It's a fresh beginning, and that alone made this comic a must-read for me. But what I wasn't prepared for was just how much I'd actually enjoy it. Every second of this book had me grinning, hooked, or sitting on the edge of my seat. But let's not beat around the bush here. This issue has sparked a lot of conversation online, and not all of it's been positive. People seem split, which I find fascinating because honestly, I think this delivered exactly what you'd expect from a creative team that we have here. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it gave us so much more, but the discourse has been weird. The name at the center of it all is of course Mark Waid. Waid's one of those writers who can either deliver something that's really fun or enjoyable, or write up something that leaves you scratching your head, and he's a very hit or miss kind of guy. I mean, take his Daredevil books as an example. His first Daredevil run I thought was really good, and I loved the more Silver Age feel the comic had after decades of Matt being depressed, but his second Daredevil run, I was honestly counting down the issues, just waiting for it to be all over. So when I saw his name on the cover of this book, I paused and honestly hesitated for a second or two. I was wondering, could he actually deliver something that's worthwhile here? Something worth my hard-earned cash? And thankfully, I found the answer, at least for me, to be yes, he did. Now that doesn't mean this issue is perfect. Let's address one of the more valid critiques I've seen, and that is Carol Ferris. Writing her as this inexperienced, overwhelmed rookie was definitely an odd choice. Star Sapphire is no stranger to high-stakes situations. She's quite literally seen it all. Cosmic threats, intergalactic wars, you name it, she's probably seen it. So why is she suddenly written like she's out of her depth here? Even as someone who hasn't read a ton of Green Lantern or Green Lantern related stories, it even felt off to me. She should be more prepared for this role than half the other heroes on the Watchtower. It's a really strange choice, and it was just one that made me raise my eyebrow when I first read the story. But despite that strange characterization, Waid still managed to craft a compelling, emotionally charged story around her. That moment where Carol saved the soldier's life, it was a beautiful scene, a moment that shows what the Justice League is all about in the midst of so much chaos. The destruction of the battlefield is overwhelming, yet Waid zeroes in on this one deeply personal moment and it works. You feel the stakes, you feel the tension, you feel the humanity. It's these kinds of moments, small but powerful, that remind you why these heroes matter. And the way Waid ties Carol's powers to Airwave's was great. That team up was so satisfying, especially because Airwave's eagerness and energy felt so genuine. Seeing him finally get his moment to shine was such a wholesome little payoff within the issue. Of course, the twist that Airwave is actually a villain, I won't lie, that did, hit me quite a bit because I actually liked the guy. He had this infectious optimism that made him instantly likable, and it felt like we were seeing the wonderful world of the Justice League Watchtower all through his eyes. So the reveal stung in the best way possible, but it also hooked me. I want to see where this goes. This is where Waid's strength lies. If he can keep crafting these character-driven moments, and if he can continue finding ways to highlight each team member's unique strengths and abilities to team up with each other, then this series could be something that's really special. It's that attention to detail, that focus on why these heroes belong together. That's what makes this issue stand out for me. It reinforces who the Justice League truly are. They're not just another team, they're the fucking Justice League. And speaking of things that stand out, let's talk about Dan Mora, because honestly, Mora might be the main highlight of this book for me. His art is breathtaking, just like every other issue he does. It's sleek, dynamic, cinematic. Every panel feels alive. His ability to capture the larger-than-life grandeur of the Justice League is unmatched. Mora is a generational talent, plain and simple. Anytime his name is attached to a book, it's an automatic boost for me. He was the perfect choice for this series, and I can't imagine anyone else bringing the same level of energy to the table. But bringing it back to Waid, as much as I enjoyed this issue, I get why some people are hesitant. Waid's name comes with a lot of baggage. Some might say he's a veteran of the game. Sure, but he's not the fresh voice that some people wanted for this relaunch. And I get it, Waid's not the kind of writer who's going to completely reinvent the Justice League, but I feel like this issue has shown that for this run at least, he's dependable. He knows these characters and he knows how to tell engaging stories about them. And for a book like this, where accessibility and fun are key, I believe Mark Waid was the exact right choice. That's not to say that this series doesn't have room to grow. There were definitely some odd choices here, and I'll be the first to admit that I would love to see this comic push the envelope a bit more. But as a starting point, as an introduction to this new era of the Justice League, I believe it works. It's fun, it's exciting, it's everything I wanted from this series, and I can't wait to see where it goes next, because at the end of the day, that's That's what comics are all about, right? They're about fun, about possibility, about making you feel like a kid again, flipping through the pages completely absorbed in another world. And this issue, it did that for me. Justice League Unlimited issue 1 may not be perfect, but it's a damn good start, and I, for one, am here for the ride.